Hey guys, and welcome back to GotGameTesters, where we play test board and card games and let you guys decide whether or not they're good enough to get published. So today's game is a game called Agents. It's already on Kickstarter, and the designer's named Sar Shai. Now I'm probably going to pronounce his name wrong, so again, here's his name for everyone. And you know what, like I said, it's already on Kickstarter, so let's go ahead and check it out. Okay, so this is a setup for just one player in a game. Every player is going to kind of have this setup where they have two factions. Now, a faction is just a group of these agent cards lined up with each other. The whole purpose of this game is to get 40 points. Now, you start off with these what are called Intel cards. They're Intel point cards, and they have different values on different sides. So there's 5 and 1 and 2 and 10 for you. But the first person to get to 40 points is the winner. Now, how do you get points? There's several different ways to get points. The first and most common way is to line up these cards and make arrows out of them. So as you can see, when you put the two cards together, you can get like this little arrow symbol. Now, I kind of wish that they hadn't made this border there, so that way you can line up the agent itself, but that's not the point. So for every time that you line up two arrows of the same color, you're going to get 2 points. And whoever that arrow is facing is who's going to get the points. So in this case, my opponent over here is going to get 2 points for this white arrow token, and I'm going to get 2 points for the black arrow token. And then over here, my opponent, he's actually going to get 2 points because when you have a mismatched arrow, such as a black and a white, then you're going to get 1 point instead of the 2. So that's basically the most common way to get points. The other most common way is with these mission cards. Now, these mission cards basically drive the game because you're trying to you line these up with a specific faction, and usually the mission is according to that faction. So this one, for example, says for each agent facing you in this faction. So for each agent that I have the command side of a card facing me, or the special ability is facing me, then I'm going to get a point. So in this case, I can get 2 points here, or I can put it with this faction and get 3 points there. Obvious choice. So these guys are pretty much the driver of the game. There are other fun mission cards. There's several different types. Just a couple more examples is like if this is your shortest faction, so you'd probably attach it to this group and you'd get 2 points out of that. Or you can have what's called man down, and you get 1 point for each dead agent in this faction. So what are you supposed to do with all these agents? Not only are you supposed to give points, but you're also supposed to use these as special abilities. So there's kind of a give and take situation. Remember how I said that these are basically the drivers? Well, basically, I'm going to try to set up the situation for myself with these mission cards. So like I can attach this mission and I'm going to get 2 here, while my opponent can easily try to thwart my situation by adding an extra agent. Now that since I have 2 equal sides, this no longer applies and I can't get 2 points for being the shortest faction. And for each and every mission that someone has, they're going to try to thwart it. Now, again, you could try to thwart people from trying to from getting their 2 points or 1 point from their arrows as well. Like the assassin, for example, or the marksman can shoot people and you turn them over and the agent's dead. Unfortunately, they stay there in the faction because they still take up a spot. But someone like the paramedic could heal one of your agents. And another one, like the infiltrator here, he gets to use the ability of someone next to him. And the abductor, he can extract an agent from your other faction, so he can, if you want to use his ability, you can take one of these agents out over here. If they're dead, you can also take them out, and that might help you out a little bit. But basically, all these different agents are just to manipulate the game. If you wanted to turn the card around so you can get the point or the special ability, it's all basically give and take at this point. If I'm going to get the ability, I'm going to give you points, and that's pretty much it. There's these other ones, they're called free agents as well. Free agents are kind of a one-time use. These ones are called faction agents, where they stay in your faction the entire game until obviously removed or killed. But like for example, this one is the strategist. Now, this is an upside down 5 because what's going to happen is if you want to use a special ability, then you're going to play it and you're going to give someone else. Now, it doesn't have to be someone next to you. It just has to be somebody else who's going to get those extra 5 points so you can use that ability. So that's obviously a really good ability. This one, I think it steal one mission from another player. But there are tons of different other free agents. For example, Like this guy, he only gives another player 2 points, and you get to perform an extra action this turn. Now, what are actions? Well, actions basically are you get 2 a turn, so you're pretty limited. And an action is laying down an agent. It could be using the ability again of an agent. It's buying cards. When you want to buy these cards, it costs 1 point or 3 points face down accordingly. Or you can also buy the cards from the discard pile for additional points, like a face-up agent in the discard pile is 2 points, and a face-up mission is going to cost you 4 points. So that's an action as well. So buying or playing agents. Playing missions, however, is actually a freebie, so you can just put down a mission whenever you want, and you actually can move it from one faction to the other. So like I had mentioned before, for this mission where this one needs to be my shortest faction, well, if someone, adds too many agents over here, I can just easily shift it over to that one, and now they're the different mission. And that's basically it. The first person to get 40 of these intel points is the winner.
So guys, I got Nick Conyos with me today. So Nick, go ahead and tell us what your first initial impressions were about agents.
Well, first of all, thanks for having me, Jarek.
Yeah,
hey,
anytime.
YouTubers. It's a lot of fun. Love the show, so it's great to be a part of it. Agents, that's what it's called? Agents?
The agents, yeah, let's be specific.
The agents.
Right.
I'm going to say I liked it. It had a lot of elements of game. I'm not a game aficionado. Like, I play it when I can. I don't own, 100 like some people here. Thousands. I don't remember what it was. Something like that. But it has a lot of mechanics that I'm used to. You know what I mean? It thinks about it like if you play video games like me, if you play one first-person shooter, you can pick up and play all of them. And this game had a lot of mechanics I was used to, but it put them in ways that I felt were pretty unique and made it a pretty unique experience. And I actually really enjoyed it. Only played it once, and when it was done, I thought wow, I would like to play this game again.
Yeah, I got several games in, obviously, because otherwise we wouldn't get the full effect. But you know what? He's definitely right. There's several things. It's not really hard to pick up. The give and take aspect is probably the heart of the game. If I'm going to take something, I'm going to have to give something up as well. But like we were saying earlier, is the mission cards pretty much drive the game. Yeah, and I don't know, I kind of felt like when I first picked up the game, my initial thoughts were the agents were everything.
Right.
And you know what, they are, but it's the missions is what's really going to give you the points. Not the little arrow things, that's just kind of
window dressing,
right, yeah, exactly. It's icing on the cake or something like that. But
yeah, and I think, and maybe that was just the one that I really felt this is a really easy game to pick up and play. I played it my first time with 2 people that knew what they were doing, and I really felt that I figured it out pretty quickly. The one thing that maybe I didn't get right away is that, the mission cards, that's what dictates everything. Yeah. That's what dictates the game. But other than that, I felt like I got the strategy right away. The strategy is dictated a lot by your creativity and the cards in your hand and on the board, as opposed to, I know this game well, I know if I do this, this will happen. I think that's a really big strength of this game.
Yeah, and you know what? To me personally, I'm not really sure if there's a huge difference between a 2 to 5 player game. The difference between them is just you have to pay attention to more. The free agents does become a big deal because the free agents, you only have one person to give the points to on their abilities, but other than that, you can choose somebody from across the table to get the free agents points. But other than that, it's pretty much the same, and I'm glad for that. But you know what? Let me just talk about something real quick. The players at the table are kind of a big deal. Okay, there's so after playing a couple of games, we played one with my sister Alex. Here's a picture. Okay, anyway, so there. Alex, we kind of gave her this new title called the Alex Complex.
Yes.
Okay. I started off saying it was more like Puerto Rico. Now in Puerto Rico, if you've ever played with a bunch of experienced players, they're all they all know what the strategies are. And if one guy doesn't know the strategies, someone in the group is going to get screwed. That's basically it. You have one option, one chance, and if the guy next to you doesn't do well, then you're messing up as well. So Alex was this problem. Now, no one else had played Puerto Rico at the table that I was talking about, but so we decided to call it the Alex Complex. And the Alex Complex is she has this little bubble where she sits there and she says, okay, this is my world. Now, in this case, that means I'm going to pay attention to my 2 factions and see which ones are going to give me more points, disregarding completely what's going on at the rest of the table. Now, that frustrated me like no other, because I was the one getting shafted for everything that she did. Because the first guy went and he was getting like 8 points or like 4 or 5 points in the first turn, and I was already like frustrated with that, and then. So I was trying to thwart his plans, and then she only made it worse, and it was just, and she's like, but this is going to give me the most points. I'm like, do you realize that there are more points that he's getting than you? Math, simple. 8 points is more than 4 points, and so you need to stop what he's doing. But you know what? That's just how it goes. So
this is definitely not a game where, even though it is, you can play very easily with 4 people. It's not something that you go like, hey, this is couples game night. We've all done that, and phase 10 might work well for that. But if not everyone is interested in playing a competitive game,
right?
It can really screw someone over, especially because the concepts. It's not just that everyone has the same board. It's not like a Settlers of Catan or a Risk situation. It's that the person you're playing next to. You are both a team and a rivalry, and so if you have one person that just doesn't understand that, it could be a little tricky. So I'm not saying it's a game you have to play cutthroat. I think you can have a good time and not necessarily be that type of player.
Yeah.
But if you're in that Alex bubble, I think you need to come up with the Alex effect scale. So that way you can understand, because certain games it's bigger than others. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Definitely.
I would even say like Settlers of Catan. There's a small Alex effect because whoever's starting first, if they don't take that really good spot, and you're second, you're going to dominate because of that. It's like a 2 on the 10 with Settlers.
That's true.
This game, what do you think? Like a 5, a 6? I mean, could it completely throw it off if you play with one person that doesn't know what they're doing?
I think it's going to throw one other person off. If one person doesn't know, then another person's going to get messed up at least, because that's what happened. And so maybe I would push it to about 7, 8.
7, 8.
Okay. Agricola, for example, is one where she could be in her little bubble and just kind of focus on her little farming land and take the pieces and just kind of look up, okay, these are the spaces I left, well, I'll take that. I mean, yeah, that's, again, like another 1 or a 2 kind of thing.
Sure.
But it has that Seven Wonders complex where it's kind of your responsibility, if you played Seven Wonders a lot, it's kind of your responsibility to make sure that the next guy's not going to get that card that he needs. And so anyway, so there's tons of strategy to be had. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But I know Nick, I'm going to let Nick talk about this one because he really thinks that there's something else about the game that he just really didn't like. So
I mean, didn't like is I don't know if that's a strong term, but it's kept it from being like, this is a game that I would make sure I spent hard-earned money on, as opposed to this is a game that I would play if it's available. What I like about board games and games in general, I mean, there's a little bit of escapism in it, and I like this idea of I'm an emperor or a general or something like that, and I'm amassing this army or this country or something out of my own hard-earned whatever, grit and guile and fight and luck or whatever, and then using that to my advantage during the game, where I felt like with this game, there was a lot of that. You use a lot of really creative strategy to get things going to you, but then once you amass that, the game kind of ends. The way I just described it, there really isn't much of a third act. You spend a lot of most of the game, I feel like, at least half of it is the first act. You're just trying to get things started.
It's true.
Once things start going, it just kind of ends, and it kind of leaves you flat a little bit. At the same time, it also makes me think, if you've ever played those one-on-one fighting games, where it's like you're battling, and then all of a sudden, like, a small jab is what takes you down. It's so unsatisfying that you want to have to, like, do something really cool.
If you're going to go down, make it that 18 hit combo.
And I feel like this game, it kind of lacks that you can just kind of happen to win at the end. It's like, oh, there you go. Just because I think, points are pretty easy to come by, I guess is what it comes down to, because they are both...
You have enough mission cards,
They're both your victory points and your money, your resources. So if they were hard to come by, this game would take forever.
Sure, yeah. I
and
totally
that
agree.
wouldn't be good. So, if you could fix this third act, I honestly think this game could literally be my favorite game. I mean, that is how much I enjoy it. It was a lot of fun, but right now it's something I'd like to play.
Right, and we'll give it credit on the fact that it's well balanced. Okay, this whole give and take situation, the cards that are in there, I don't feel like there's any one card that's broken. There's one card that I really like, but that doesn't mean it's broken.
No.
And the mission cards themselves don't seem all that broken. We kind of were skeptical at first with one of them, but it's as the game progressed, it was fine. But yeah, like he said, about 60 points, you could easily play that in a 2 to 3 player game. That'll build up a lot more. It'll give you more time. Now, again, in a 4 to 5 player game, there's a lot more time to be had because everyone's thinking about what the other guy across the table is doing. So whatever I play this turn is really critical. So yeah, 40 points would probably be sufficient in a 5 player game, and we add a little bit more for less players and such. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
So
I do want to say this probably is a game that'd be easy to cheat in if that's like because the money how they do it is you could flip it over depending like it's either a 1 or a 2 or a 5 or a 10.
Yeah,
now it might be pretty tough to cheat and flip over a lot of 5s to 10s. Like people will probably catch on to you.
Well,
you could probably
yeah,
like,
but in a 5-player
look,
game, yeah.
I feel like you could do this pretty like, oh, I'm gonna take my 1 and then flip that. Oh no, it's a 2 now. Like,
no, yeah, I'm gonna get up and get a soda. Flip that up on the way
yeah,
out.
I mean, I think it
totally.
would be if you want to cheat. This game you could probably get really good at if that's what you're into. So
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a pro or a con.
Right. So, our grammatically inferior question.
Yes.
Okay, we have to ask this to every co-host. Okay. Does the Agents got game?
Absolutely a got game. I mean, the way it is now, you could put it on shelves. It's a very successal game. It's got mechanics that are recognizable if you played games already.
Sure.
But at the same time, they're really unique. At least for me, I thought it was done in a really cool, creative way. I think it belongs on the shelf right now. It doesn't even take up space.
Oh yeah, yeah. The like you said, the give and take mechanic. There's plenty of that out there. Okay, but the way that the cards pull it off is so much heavier in this game, and the artwork is great. It's spot on. It fits the theme perfectly. So yeah, definitely worth putting on the shelves. Now, as if you haven't already checked it out, Kickstarter. The goal was 6,000. And we still have like 25 days left,
right.
And it's up to 110, 120,000 last time I checked, something like that. So all they're really doing is just fighting for stretch goals, okay? So at this point, if you want the game, it's going to be awesome as it is, okay? So go ahead and back it. Get those Kickstarter promo onlys. It's like, we really like it. Like you said, basically almost his favorite game, okay? And I would have to agree. Mostly. I think it's got game. Okay. Definitely there's no question that the potential's there. There's no question that it's gonna look great on the shelves. But I don't think it's gonna be my favorite game ever. So anyway.
What's the name of this guy that developed it?
Sar Shai. Now again, I mentioned at the beginning of the video that I'm probably pronouncing his name wrong.
That's fine.
But
well, this Sar Shai guy, I mean, I think we can agree that the sky's the limit. I mean, this is a great first whatever.
Yeah, and you know what? Let me point something out real quick for all the viewers out there. Cool story about this game. I met his girlfriend, Sar's girlfriend, online. She was the one who recommended the game to me. Okay, Alicia, and Alicia sent the game all the way from Israel, actually, and.
No wonder they're into spies. All right, continue. I get it now.
Okay.
I get it now. There we go.
Anyway,
okay, cool.
So
I love Munich. All right, it's a good movie. Sorry,
it's good. You know us. Agreed. So anyway, so she sends it all the way from Israel. Next thing I know, I see on Facebook this giant picture, and it's got Agents cards all over the place, and right smack dab in the middle is the card that says the proposal, and there's a ring on it. And she's like, "You can call me the fiance." And that's pretty much it. This guy. Anyway, so
what's the fiance's powers? Like take
I don't
money
know.
from other agent? I don't know. What's the fiance?
Woo somebody. No, they already got the temptress in there.
Yeah, the
all right.
Fiance.
Well, cool guys. Well, thanks for coming on the show, Nick.
Of course, sure.
Yeah, and guys, check it out. Nick is actually going to have some blogs going up about what was it again? Go ahead and explain it yourself.
Yeah, blog about what board games have taught me. So board games have some life lessons. Sometimes maybe counterintuitive to what will help you in real life. So hopefully I will help you navigate your life through board games. So.
Good. And so you'll be able to check all of his blogs out from our website, GotGameTesters.com. Okay? Thanks. All right, guys, and that was Agents for you. Hopefully you enjoyed it, because I know I did. Anyway, go ahead and check it out on Kickstarter. Still got 25 days to go. All it's doing right now is just trying to reach its stretch goals. So if you want a very solid, awesome game, I mean, this thing is balanced beyond belief. It is a great game. Go ahead, check it out at the Kickstarter page that we'll put a link to you for below. And go ahead and leave any comments about the game if you'd like to see something different. Maybe they'll add a stretch goal to it if you wanted. And give us a like and subscribe, because we got great games coming on the way. Seriously, great games. Anyway, we'll see you next time on GotGameTesters.